So we've covered a lot of different things so far. We've talked about Twitter, we've talked about Facebook, we've talked about Google+, and at this point you're either thinking, okay, this is cool or not, and that's okay. I'm going to throw one more network at you. It's not necessarily a network, but more of a utility for you to use if you're into this sort of thing. This will appeal to some people, and it might not appeal to anybody. Okay, and that is YouTube. And so YouTube is, for the longest time it was about cats falling off pianos and all that kind of stuff, right? Now YouTube is, I just got that video in my mind. So now YouTube is becoming a great tool for people to share information. And if you're a photographer or a videographer or a graphic designer or anybody that lives and moves and shakes in the creative space, I think that whether you are, if you're a teacher or not, is irrelevant. Okay, I didn't start out as a teacher. I started out as a designer. But I started sharing things with people online and doing this kind of stuff because people kept asking me, well, how do you do that? I don't necessarily feel like I'm giving away any kind of magic recipe, because there's one thing, if I can teach you technique, there's one thing I can't teach, and that's the creativity that's in my brain. I can't teach that. I know I'm a creative person by nature. Most photographers are creative by nature. You can tell me how to take a portrait. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to make one that's better than yours. I also firmly believe in the power of education as a way to make people come to you. And if you're not educating clients and educating customers and educating just the public in general, I find that to be almost a disservice on your part. Okay? And YouTube can be a very good educational resource. Look at some of the stuff that I do on YouTube. Okay? For instance, here I showed people how to do auto exposure bracketing on their camera. I don't necessarily, consider myself a professional photographer, but so many people were asking me how to do that. I did it. I tweeted out that I loved doing OTA updates on my iPhone now instead of having to plug my phone in every time there's an update. I got somebody asking, how do you do that? Okay, well, there's a video how to do that. Okay, they wanted to know how to process an HDR photo. Okay, there's a video on how to do that. I've done a ton of this kind of stuff, right, about how to do that. And so doing these little things, it took me maybe 5 minutes to throw these little videos together. But that means so much to people when you can show that level of interactivity. Because it's one thing to post 140 characters in text. It's another completely to show that I've actually taken the time to teach you something. Right? So I know those people are going to respond to that. YouTube is kind of a different animal in the fact that without the content like this, your page is pretty much worthless. So, unless you have some video content ready to fire in here, I would just kind of maybe put YouTube on the back burner. But if you have some video content, or if you want to start working on some video content, YouTube's a great place to showcase that. And they give you some great customization options in here. If you are just a standard YouTube user like I am at the moment, you will get the ability to change and control your background image like what you see here. If you are a YouTube channel partner, you get to build out some really, really cool stuff. Okay, you get the ability to customize your header and some HTML and CSS and stuff like that. You get to customize the background. You get to customize a lot of stuff. All right? You have to apply to be a channel partner. In order to get that, you have to have so many views and so many hits and all this other stuff, and they have to consider you a worthwhile partner for them to, partner up with. That'll come in time. All right, I just started this YouTube channel not too long ago, so that's why this one is still not a partner channel and all that good stuff. All right, but I still have the ability to brand this under mine using the background image. And so how do we do that? Well, you have to first, get into YouTube, and you can sign in. I'm already signed in because I'm signed into Google+. The good news is Google owns YouTube, so your login is, already there theoretically. Okay. Click here to try new channel design. Uh-oh. I know what I'm doing on the way home. Anyway, in the settings section, you can pick, your URL is kind of set, but right now I have youtube.com/TheJustinSeeley. Your title, whatever you want to call it, that's up to you. Channel type, I love the channel types that you can pick from in here. Because of the fact that I can call myself a guru, I find that to be hilarious, but I use it. So there's all kinds of, like, YouTuber, director, musician, comedian, guru, or reporter. I mean, guru is really the only category that I would fit under. I'm not a guru by any stretch of the term, but, you know, that's the only one I fit under. They don't have instructor or software trainer underneath there. Do you want to make this channel visible? Yes, you do. You always want to make your channel visible if you have content in it, of course. All right, and then here, channel tags. I have, you know, put several different channel tags in here that apply to what I do, and I'm always evolving this and always changing this depending on what type of content I'm creating. These are nothing more than keywords that help people find your channel. All right? Let others find you if they have your email address. Sure, if anybody has my Gmail address, they can find me on YouTube. All right? Themes and colors, this is the one that you get to change. So themes and colors, by default, I just use the standard one because I've used the custom background. And there you can kind of see that I have my old logo attached to the bottom of that. But once you get that picked, you can also go into advanced options and you can tweak individual colors. Okay, so you can tweak all these individual colors. You can also change the background image. So if I want to get rid of my humongous face back there, I can hit the delete key. You can also repeat the background because chances are you're not going to get a background that necessarily, you know, goes the full width of anybody's monitor. Here's the weird thing about YouTube profile design. When you set the background image in YouTube as opposed to Twitter, the background image is center aligned on the page. So you know how Twitter is always flush left? YouTube's is center aligned. That is even more tricky because now everything on the sides is in flux. So here's what you need to know about YouTube profile design, okay? This big box in the middle, the YouTube interface itself, is about 960 pixels wide. If I take a little measurement here, I'm willing to bet it's right at 960. Yeah, 960. So it's 960 pixels wide. You're going to have to go wider than 960 pixels in order to have anything show up. So what do? I go into a program, doesn't matter which one, again, and I create a new document. I start off at 960 pixels by 960 pixels. Okay? And once I get it open, 960 by 960, something kind of like this. This is at 50%, but you get the idea. 960 by 960. All right, I'll duplicate my background layer so that I have a 960 by 960 square right in the middle. And then I'll fill the background with black, and watch this. I'll just go ahead and do a canvas size, and that's Option-Command-C on a Mac, Alt-Control-C on a PC. I'll change the width of it. Again, 1600 pixels is probably about as much as you're going to get away with. I usually try to keep that between 14 and 1600 pixels, so I'll do 1400 just because it's a smaller screen. So 1400 pixels wide. All right, and I actually made a mistake there. Let's undo that. Image, canvas size. So I'm going to make that 1400 pixels wide, and I'm going to make sure the background here is set to black. Now I have a perfect setup for YouTube because this is the same width as the YouTube interface and the sides are where all my content goes. So I can now drag a guide out here to that edge and a guide to that edge. I mean, you can measure this out too, but this is just the easy way to do it in case you don't like math. I don't like math. And then I'll just kind of toss this away. Now I've got a guide right there in the middle, and I can start putting content on either side. What you have to be careful with is, notice when I resize this browser window, see how both sides start to lose stuff? Okay, that's why the center alignment's kind of a pain in the rear end. All right, but you determine what goes here. You've already designed a core set of graphics theoretically. So once you have set this up, you can use whatever graphics you have on that little edge there.